is there any other is there any other housekeeping that should be taken care of?
I don't think so. We can get started. I put the login link for you all to follow along when we get to that point in the chat. So also put questions in the Q&A if you have any issues logging in.
Terrific. So, so with that being said, so I'm going to go through a little bit of a PowerPoint. I'm going to go through I'm going to add and insert just a few minutes about the data cleaning wizard. Like everything else, don't worry about taking any notes. This is all being recorded and you can go back and watch it. I just wanted to get to the sense of what we're doing here, the sense of, you know, the PowerPoint and in particular, levels of measurement and levels and types of variables, a sense of the data cleaning wizard, and then we'll figure out how to upload data together. And then if you've sent stuff to my account, then we'll try to work through that the best we can and look to wrap up by 2 o'clock. So okay. So with that being said, let's get to it. I just kind of talked about this. You know, the basics, we have to know what types of variables we have. We have to know levels of measurement. I am going to insert the data cleaning wizard at that point. And then how do we set up data? I'll show you some of that prior to the data cleaning wizard. Analyses, how to download, and then questions. I'm just going to jump right into it and I'll be brief about it. But, you know, and if I'm boring a few folks, I apologize. Some essentials, particularly with intellective statistics, or IS, as we like to say, you got to know a few things. You have to know levels of measurement. Nominal is Latin for name only. These are just groups: Republican, Democrat, Independent, male, female. These are just group names. There's no hierarchy to be had. Ordinal adds to it. We have both names and an order to it. This horse was first, this one was second, this one was third. I have an 8-ounce Coca-Cola, 12-ounce Coca-Cola, a big gulp of whatever they make them at, 64 ounces or 32 ounces. So we have an order to them, but you'll notice in the Coca-Cola example and perhaps in the horse example that they don't have equal intervals in between that. That is to say, between 8 and 12 ounces, okay, and between 12 and 32 ounces, you have different ounces. Or horses comes in first, next horse comes in a nose later, next horse comes in 2 minutes later. So we only have in ordinal level data, ordered data, first, second, third, and things of that sort. Smallest, medium, largest, but not equal. Okay. Scale, which we use in Intellectus, is really both, and you consider it interval, equal intervals. Ratio has equal intervals, like age. Okay, so from 1 year to 2 years, 2 years to 3 years, you know, you have 365 days. That's equal interval. So, and those are the icons that you'll see throughout. Both in data management and in the plots and in the analyses. So just a heads up of the icon of that Venn diagram, some ordered bar chart, and some scale as in a ruler. So, okay. Again, types of fruit, nominal, ordinal, sedentary, moderately active, very active. Okay. I guess I should say something about Likert type items here. So a lot of folks think about Likert type items as a ordinal scale, right? From strongly disagree to disagree and disagree to neutral. Are those equal intervals? That's a question. So I want to make 2 points about this. One point is that often Likert type scales are going to be averaged or summed or contribute to a composite score. So whether it's ordinal or a scale, the fact is we're going to turn them into a number and we're going to average those numbers or sum those numbers. So that's one aspect to it, that it's going to turn into a number. It's part of a scale very, very, very often. The other part I want to mention is if you have just one Likert type item, question is it ordinal or is it scale? And the basic rule of thumb is, and Melissa, maybe you put that into the chat. The basic rule of thumb is if you have 4 levels or less, okay, keep it as Likert. That is maybe strongly disagree, disagree, agree, strongly agree. Keep it as ordinal. If you have a 5 or 7 point scale, that the literature says you can use it as a scale variable, and that's just fine. So that's one. And by the way, I think people still discuss it to this day. I'm sure it's been discussed for decades, but when we think about ordinal and Likert type items or Likert type items are very common. It's a common controversy that evidently still exists. So, okay, ordinal. Scales, we mentioned temperature. Okay. So let's go into, thank you for posting that. So let's go into types of variables. Typically, there is a independent variable, IV, a dependent variable, DV, and covariate. There's, of course, other types of variables, potential mediating variable, potential moderating variable, whatever. But these are the 3 biggies, okay? And really the first 2 are the ones that kind of matter. What I want to say about the independent variable is this is the variable that typically the researcher really influences. Hey, I want to look at running time by gender. Well, I'm selecting gender as my independent variable. That's what I'm manipulating, so to speak. That is to say, this is the variable I'm interested in looking at differences on run times by gender. So, okay. So, and I'll just say that the independent variable is typically, again, controlled by the researcher. Contrary to that is the dependent variable. This is often depends upon, that's the mnemonic, dependent variable depends upon the observation or the participant. How fast that darn person runs. That's that depends upon them. So if I was looking at amount of time to run a 5K by gender, run time depends upon, and the dependent variable is time. The independent variable, what I mentioned in looking at that dependent variable by, is by gender, okay? All right. The covariate, I guess, it's things that can, and to be a covariate, it has to be related to the dependent variable, okay, number 1. Second of all, we think it influences the dependent variable. And covariates are typically variables that we want to control for or neutralize the effect for. For example, I'm looking at runtime, the dependent variable, okay, runtime on a 5K, dependent variable by gender, male versus female. Let's just say as the independent variable that's selected by the researcher. But I notice all the women that are 30 years old, all the men are 78 years old in the 70s and 80s. And I'm like, wait a second. Maybe women have a faster runtime, not because of gender, but because of their age groups or the average ages in those groups. So I might, as a researcher, want to control or neutralize the effect of age so I can get to the heart of my research question or my study, which is, are there differences in runtimes on a 5K by gender, male versus female, neutralizing or controlling for the age of the participants? Okay. So before we get logged in, well, you can get logged in. Let's go ahead and do that. So and we have in the chat, you have that login of my.intellectus360.com. /login/quant-workshop. All right. While you're doing that, for those that are just going to kind of follow along, I just want to, because I want to touch on the data cleaning wizard before we get into folks' projects and so forth, and the kind of overview of this. And I want to just say that with SurveyMonkey or Qualtrics, typically this might be how you have your data, okay? Which is you have some, first of all, several rows of headers, okay? Maybe the shorthand name, the full question, the levels of measurement of that. It's one aspect. The other parts are that in addition to the number of headers, that sometimes you have the labels inside there. Well, gosh, I'm going to want to create a composite score for my pre-test and ditto for my post-test. So I'm going to want to change those to numbers and create that composite score. And sometimes I have an open-ended question that I'm going to want to figure out what are the main the main labels or buckets that these open-ended questions go into. So I just wanted to show you this Rosenberg self-esteem scale and show you how the data cleaning wizard works. So without further ado, let me just hop into the tool. And okay, and Melissa, I think I'm logged into the correct one here if I log out. So I should be logged into the 360, correct?
To Interactive Statistics.
Oh, to the three, okay, got it.
Yeah, that's where people will share their data.
Perfect, got it. Okay, cool. Oh, and I got some, great. So let me just run through the data cleaning wizard. You don't have to follow along. Well, maybe let's just do this. So for those that have data, let's go ahead and follow along. So this is the tool. It's web-based. I can upload data from different file formats. So if you have a CSV or Excel or SPSS or SAS, that's fine. Just to know, well, let's just stick to that. Or if you have a flat file, you can just paste it in there. So we just need the variable names and then the data underneath it.
We have
rows of headers.
We have some people that don't have data, so if you could show them how to pull in an example data set just quickly. Too.
Yep. So the example, thanks. The example data set, you just go to choose an example data set, and then I can pick, say, exercise data set, just select it and create project with this data set. So you'll have a data set with the variable name, with the data, and then we can talk about changing these levels of measurement and so forth. But if a condition was ordinal, again, not equal intervals, but ordered, okay, and put that into the same variable. So that's how you simply open up example data set. Just go, and by the way, you can open up, if you'd like, for those following along, you can open up masterclass, or you can open anything. Just open up exercise data, wherever I just had that. Oh, it's probably over here. So over here. So, so if you want to open that up, that's fine. And then we can do some analyses together. All right. I do want to do the data cleaning wizard just briefly, though, to show you how we help streamline that process. Anyone who's done statistical analysis knows that it takes 90% of the job is data cleaning. And the data cleaning wizard I'm going to show you helps streamline that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to upload a data file from Excel. And then I'm going to choose that file, and it happens to be the Rosenberg. So just select the file and go to upload. And then as soon as you upload that data from CSV or Excel, it throws you into this data cleaning wizard. So let's just quickly go through that, and then we'll work with folks' projects. So The first thing we're going to do is get rid of these additional headers. We don't need those in Intellectus. Again, we just need the name of the variable and then the data. So I'm going to select those to delete. I apply changes and go to next. Next, I want to edit variable names. I think I'm going to be okay with the variable names, but I could have, changed those if I wanted to. Okay. All right, so you can change those names, apply those changes, and go to next. Next, we have misspellings identified. Sometimes I don't know how it happens exactly, but variable male will be with a small m, sometimes male with a capital M. This identifies those kind of common things that should be put together, like disagree and disagree. I can merge those, apply changes, merge disagree and disagree. Again, this is the before. Okay, this is the after. Okay, we're going to apply those changes. No more detected misspellings. Let's just go to next. I do have Likert type items. So here, the first thing to do is to select the type of Likert item you have, and you have a whole selection of these things. That Rosenberg self-esteem scale happened to be a 5-point agreement scale. It looks like this, and we need to turn it into the numbers like that. So I'm going to, and you can do this for different scales as well, or different items. For all these items, it looks like this. I want it to be that. I'm going to check all, apply those changes, and that's it, and go to next. So go to next. Okay, so you can see that my variables are turned into numbers. Okay, I need to go back one step. So next thing is to create those subscales. Okay, so I'm going to go and create a subscale called a pretest. I can identify the items of that pretest. I can reverse code simultaneously. So sometimes questions are asked in reverse. So for example, my subscale was self-esteem, okay? From the Rosenberg, I could have, do I value myself in the daytime? Do I feel like I am, doing a good job at work? And then they say, a reverse coded item. I typically feel bad about myself in the morning or whatever. So we want all high scores, for example, to reflect high self-esteem. That's one way of thinking about a reverse coded item. You have to flip that items 1 to 5 scale so it all makes sense. So high numbers mean self-esteem or whatever the heck the construct is. So I've named the subscale. I'll average them. I've reverse coded 2, and then I put in my min and max. Okay, apply changes, and I'll just do that for the post test again. Post 1, 2, 3, 4. By the way, you see that new pretest variable showed up. I'm going to name it. I'm going to select how I want that to be created. I'm going to put in the min and max. And that's it. Apply changes. Next. And then, if you want an ID variable, that doesn't hurt. So you'd be labeling, if you had paper, you'd be wanting to labeling those things so you can labeling those surveys. So, if that was a 22, there's a data entry error, or worse still, 21 or 12, and you don't know what age that is. So, and it happened to be an age group. So ID variables are good ideas. And complete. So, and then this just levels of measurement. What we really care about are the demographics, the open-ended, and the pre and post test composite scores. So one of the thing, two things I want to do with this data before we move along here. One is age group, and that's ordinal. So I'm going to change that to ordinal. And my level 1 was really, 20 to 29. My second age group was 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 plus. So you can put that into the same variable, or if you wanted to keep the old scoring and then make a new variable, but with this kind of situation, I want that data in there. I don't need 2 age variables. Okay, so let's change that. The other thing I want to do is to bucket these open-ended. This is questions about leadership. It's called text classification. So it's going to take that variable, leadership, and then create some buckets or classifications out of all of the options. So it uses some AI and some other statistical analysis. And what it's done is it's taken that variable, okay, the open-ended, and it's bucketed into, if I can click on this, 1, 2, 3, 4 buckets. Some folks talked about transformational leadership, strategic thinking, personal and professional development, and communication and interpersonal skills. So just to know that that's just, again, it's not a deep dive into qualitative thematizing, but you do have some sense that what kind of categories they're in, and then you can use those categories to interact with other variables, like the differences on post-test by, the type of open-ended question you had, for example. Okay. So let's go to, and I think I suggested everyone open up the exercise or masterclass. I think it was exercise. So, but maybe we'll just jump into other folks' questions and so forth. Well, let me give a quick overview, then we'll jump into other folks' projects. So let me just spend a few minutes here. So once data is in, as we have it here, okay, and again, this might be ordinal, fatigue, low, medium, high. I could edit those variables right there. Okay. All right, put into that variable. So data management, you can edit the data like manually. So for example, I can change, variable names. Yes, for example, okay. So you can change the variable names. You can, if there was a typo here and it was 202, okay, or 202, you can change the actual cells. So you can, if you had another data set, you can append different columns of data or add additional rows of data and so forth. So that's helpful to have the edit data. You can reverse code manually. Okay. You can impute missing data. Be careful. You just don't want to impute away. You want to see if that data missing is random or not. So if someone's missing a whole bunch of data, I don't want to impute there. But if you're missing one item out of 10 items, and I don't want to drop that observation or case, then I might want to impute. Variable calculators, so you can calculate composite scores by manually, mean or sum, or you can use this keypad over here. It's worth stating too that a few things. One is almost in every dialog box, be it in data management, plots analyses, you have a quick video tutorial, quick 3-minute video to show you. And you'll also notice that we're looking for scale variables to calculate a composite score with. So just to share that. This is also important too, this download data. This is important because after you create composite scores, you're going to want to download your managed data, which has, your new scores, okay? So, we created in that other data set, pre-test and post-test. So just know that that's how you get that data. There's 10 typical plots to be had. They're pretty easy to use. You can select the variables, heads up on the levels of measurement. I can group it by different variables. And they're all pretty simple to use. I can see time 1 and time 2 by condition. Okay. The analyses really range from descriptives to structural equation modeling, mediation moderation, simple chi-square tests, ANOVAs, t-tests, correlations, and so forth, and descriptives. My descriptive speech is that you should always run descriptives, no matter what. Any of the variables that you're going to be using, because you're going to find out very quickly whether or not you have miscalculated data. So let's just look at something. So I did that too quickly. So I click on descriptives. Here I went to add modify. I'm selecting all of the variables and hit confirm. So you'll see APA tables, but you want to see, males and females, okay? You don't have a weird gender or a weird condition here, okay? That all of these labels make sense and these make sense. With scale variables, that the mins and maxes make sense, okay? If you have 444, you have a typo probably. So you want to identify that and rectify that prior to doing any analyses on that, okay? And you'll see APA tables, helpful scrollovers, and so forth. I guess I'll say so that's really the analysis portion of it. Uploading data, managing data, visualizing data, and analyzing data. The other things I want to share are the kind of a priori, like when you're writing your methodology, you're going to want to know what test am I using and assumptions. And then what's the sample size? And then I should say that we also have consulting sessions, so for completeness here. So under the decision tree, this answers the question, what test do I use? And you can follow along the branches to get to a test, or I can say, in layperson's terms, I want to predict an outcome at scale. I'm doing a linear regression. I could jump right in and do that regression. So you can play around with the decision tree. You can't break any of this. Once I know I'm doing a linear regression, I might ask, what are the assumptions of that? Well, I can go under data analysis plans. I can go to regressions. And then I can quickly look at the data plan for a linear regression. You can download this and manage that. Download this and then edit this. Power analysis, this answers the question, what sample size should I use? Again, you can select the test. In this particular analysis, you're going to want to know how many predictors there are. And then based on those predictors and based on this other criteria like effect size, power, okay, and alpha, it quickly gives you a sample size. Okay. And again, you can download this and edit this. Okay. All right. So, and then let me make the quick shameless plug for the consulting. Okay, so you can bounce into consulting, okay, if you want, and just schedule a time. All right. So with that all being said, let's get to some folks' data. So I'm gonna just
We have a quick question about level of measurement. If you want
yeah.
to see that before we open the next data set again.
Yep. What's the question? Okay, so let me go under chat or under Q&A. Okay, second here. Sorry. Question and answer. Okay. So age range, okay, so age range and years of experience could be ordinal. How about level of education, which is not a range? Would this be nominal or list? So, depends upon what you're doing here. So education can be done in several ways, right? It could be, a trade plumbing versus electrician. That's education. Those two educations. That would be nominal. I could have degrees, right? I could have high school, bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate degree, something of this sort, which would be ordinal. Or I could have number of years of education, 10, 11, 12, and scale. So it really depends upon, yeah. So it really depends upon bachelor's, master's, etc. Certainly can be ordinal. Doesn't really matter in this case. What that buys you by putting it as ordinal, what it buys you is that when you make the tables, okay, let me get here. When you make the tables, um, pre, post 6 weeks, it's in order. So that's what it buys you. So putting things as ordinal makes for a pretty table, rather than, oh, the first person was, post test and the second person was pre test or whatever. So that's another reason to do it. Okay. All righty. So let me go ahead and see what's cooking here. So, okay. So,
If
um,
if this is your project, if you want to just raise your hand and then we'll unmute you and we can get into it.
that's a better way to do
Okay, here we go.
it. Okay. All right, so let's go. So it's under projects and under M Bloom, I thought. No, did I not do that? Oh, here, right. GSC data set. Oh, I already smell a large data set here, but okay. Okay, could be worse. Okay, so, all right, small sample size, lots of variables. So, I'm sorry, who is this? Can you?
Mary Lou, you can unmute.
There you go. Can you hear me?
I can. I'm sorry. What was your name?
Mary Lou.
Oh, Mary Lou. What a pretty
Okay.
name.
Hi,
All right,
thank
Mary Lou. You make me want to sing a song, but Melissa's
you.
kind upon that.
Yes,
But
it's one of
okay.
my favorite songs. Okay.
Okay, what are we doing here?
Well, this is I've actually got three different projects going here, but this is a general self-efficacy questionnaire, pre and post, 10
Okay.
questions for it.
Yeah,
And it is after the intervention was a training intervention.
got it. So, all right. So let's do a few things here. So, it's simple enough that we can quickly clean it and move along here. So one question is, with these self-efficacy, is there any reverse coded items?
No.
Great. So we're going to go to variable calculator. And do you have any thoughts about whether these self-efficacy should be summed or averaged?
The self-efficacy scale is actually, that's interesting. They actually say the total score
Yeah,
for the 10 questions is the sum of all items.
got it. Okay, great.
Ranges from 10 to 40.
Got it. So that indicates that there's 10 items at pre, okay, and they range from 1 to 4, hunky dory, and none are reverse coded, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so pre self-efficacy. We're just going to get a sum composite, okay, and we're just going to grab those items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And you'll see, so we're just going to add up those 10, pre self-efficacy, easy breezy. We're going to do the same thing for a post. Self-efficacy. We're going to get a sum. And then we're going to do post 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm sorry, the last thing you guys want to hear is me counting. Okay, so there we are. All right. Okay, submit. And then the other quick thing we want to do is to gender. So this is fine. So I might just want to manage that just to make my tables pretty. Okay. All right. So just spell it out. The other quick thing I'm going to want to do is age group. I presume that is correct.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to make that what level of measurement?
I have,
Ordinal.
I have, well, yeah, it's like one is 18 to 25, so
Okay.
I'll have to, yeah.
So let's just get, do you have that offhand or no?
I do, yeah. So
Okay.
level
What is
one
the
is,
twos? Nope. What's it? We only have 2, 3, 5.
two is 26 to 40,
26 to 40. And threes?
41 to 55,
41 to 55. And fives?
66 or older.
66 or older. OLDER. Okay, great. I'm going to put that right in. All right. And then education code. Let's just do it.
Yeah, so
Again, what do we got? Just
Go
2
ahead.
and 3.
Two is a bachelor's, BSN.
BSM.
BSN.
Okay.
Oh, N is in nurse.
Oh,
Sorry.
BSN. Okay, got it. Okay, got it. And threes?
And
DNP?
threes are MSN for masters. MSN.
MSN. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. So replace, and last but not least, we're gonna have years of experience scale. Well, we
And
have
we
these two. So, okay, let's just get to it. So ordinal, so what's the one?
One is less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years. Okay, 2, 3,
Threes are 6 to 10 years.
6 to 10. Okay, fours.
11 to 20.
Okay, 11 to 20. Okay, and fives.
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years. And then, okay, now last but not least, what are we doing for hours worked?
Hours worked is one is part-time.
Got it. Okay. Part-time. Okay, and 2 is full-time. Okay.
Full-time. Yeah, you got
Okay,
it.
great. So let me show you how we do your whole project in 40 seconds. We're going to go to analyses, and we're going to go to descriptives, and we're going to go to descriptives. And the only variables we really care about are our demographics, okay, and our pre and post, okay? Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And calculate, and I'll come back in a minute. The other thing we really care about is seeing if there's differences on self-efficacy differences in self-efficacy from pre to post. That's a paired sample t-test, and I put in a selected t-test paired. Go to variable 1, self-efficacy pre, go to 2, post self-efficacy, hit calculate. Okay, your project is done. We have descriptive statistics on your demographics, female, age group, education, so forth, in an APA table. We have our scale variables 32 to 33, creates 32 and 33. I'm going to guess there's no difference statistically there, okay?
Right, yeah.
Because it's basically on top of each other, okay? That doesn't change much, okay? Particularly with that standard deviation. We have the t-test, we have assumptions. I'm not going to get into it all, but you can look at it. Normality is violated. The results of the test was not significant. As I just mentioned, you know, the difference is virtually 0. You know, from pre to post, it's not statistically significant, appropriate bar plot. We also have a supplemental test. When an assumption is violated, we do the non-parametric test, also not statistically significant, Wilcoxon. And then you can see these guys are right, same thing.
So the Wilcoxon, you don't even have to go in and do that. It'll automatically do it for you.
Correct.
Nice.
When an assumption is violated, right? So and then just download it, put it into your own voice, you're done. And I would have charged you $1,000 to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Have a good. I wish you a good. Well, refer other folks along. That's what you can do, okay? And I do say that. You know, it's been out there for 10 years, but not many tools can assist you with doing your analysis in, you know, seconds, minutes. So, and then you can just, again, download that and then you're good. All right. So basically what happened here is you have demographics and you had no differences from pre to post. So two thoughts. One thought is, well, why is that? Well, one is your sample size is really tiny, okay? You needed probably 30 folks, not 4 folks, okay? So sample size is a limitation in your for your is one thing. The other piece is, hey, you know what? Not much difference going on there. You know, why is that? Right? What is it about the intervention that did not increase self-efficacy? Now, one thing you might say is, hey, well, it goes from 10 to 40. You know, folks are pretty self-efficacious already. So you may be at a ceiling at pretest, you don't have much room to go. Okay, you're in the right direction, okay, increasing it, but you're already at a high level of self-efficacy. If you had more variation there, right? You had people with 20 or 10, okay? Now you have some room to grow. You know what I mean? Oh, she's not there. Okay. So hopefully you heard that and it's on the recording. So you want to figure out limitations, sample size, and then the other one is why is that? 32's, you know, more than 3/4 of the way there. All right. You don't have people in the first quartile of self-efficacy. All right, there's other questions here. Great tool. Thanks. We have a great product engineer. Thanks for walking us through. I'm working on a complex longitudinal data set. The data set includes responses, 15 waves, oh boy, of data collection, 42,000 people, oh boy. The data is pretty clean. That's always, you know, like to see that. Because cleaning takes time. Except for the trickiest part is that the participants could enter the survey at different points in time. Okay. I'm having the same issue of getting the baseline characteristics, you know, of all the participants. You only have baseline at whoever entered into that. So it's a very nuanced question. You know, Melissa or somebody send her a link to get on my calendar and we can talk about it. So you kind of have a, you know, a little bit of a nuanced question there. So yeah, how can the tool help? I mean, the tool's going to give you descriptives at each wave, but it's not going to help you overcome the fact that somebody comes in on wave 3 and you want a baseline at wave 1, you know. Oh, so wait, so maybe I see. So maybe the people that come in at wave 3 should be that maybe you want to backdate them, so to speak, and have them be their yeah, I mean, there's some workarounds there, but okay. I'm going to give you, unfortunately, I don't think there's a clean answer to that. I think it's a program, programmatic option that's happening that you need to have a program because you have so many, you don't have 4 cases, okay, like Mary Lou. So 42,000, you're gonna need a programmer to probably, or just, you know, sort everybody, and we should talk about it. We should talk, but it's more than 2 seconds. How much is the subscription? Melissa, do you want to respond to that?
Yep. So we'll send you links. Ashley is the person to reach out to. If you just go to the website, it's $59 a month, but for faculty or if you want a department subscription, things like that, the price goes way down. So reach out to Ashley. It looks like she's typing to you right now too.
Right. And just not to keep everybody in the dark, I mean, we're talking about somewhere in the range of $70 for an entire year. So it's not, you know, $9,000 like SAS. So it's very, very reasonable. There's courseware and so forth. But Ashley is the contact person there. And she's very quick to respond. Okay, so all right, let's just go to the next person. So here we have Emblem. Did we just not work with Emblem? Seems like we just did. Maybe this is our second data set. So yeah, I mean, we'll go, I think we should go to somebody else, right? Okay.
Yep. Just
Okay,
open
so
it.
I'm gonna go to WC Black.
And if that's you, just raise your hand, please.
Okay, and then we'll just go to projects and we'll see what WC Black is here. HBAT, I'm gonna take over the project for the moment. I'm not gonna do any data cleaning because we've just exemplified that. So, okay, so I'm sorry, what's your first name?
I'm waiting for them to raise their hand so I can
Okay.
unmute them. Okay, here we go. All right, William, you can go
William.
ahead and unmute.
Hi, William, good afternoon.
Howdy.
Howdy. All right, what do you got going on here, William?
Just a basic simple data set, looking to see how to run, some just simple analyses, regression, PCA, logistic regression, cluster, that type of things.
Okay, so I can handle a few of them. So you probably want to create a composite score first, most likely, correct?
We could. I'd probably like to not create a composite first, understanding the individual variables, and then work to a composite.
Okay, great. So let's just take one of those regression examples. Which variable, predicting which variable?
I've got, let's see, X19 is the dependent, X6 through X18 are the independents.
Got it. Okay. So, and of course, take my earlier comments with regard to managing levels of measurement, edit data to get nice variable names. But in the meantime, it's de-identified enough, so that's all good. So we're just going to go to analyses. So, and you run some stuff first, so great. So what you did not run here is the descriptive. So I have to model what I say. So under descriptives, I have X6 through X19. So I'm just gonna check all and then uncheck these. And then 19. Okay, so these are the variables of interest for that regression. Just confirm. I'm sure everything's hunky-dory, but we just want to make sure, hey gosh, if there's any errors. Okay, so we have the min is this range here, the max is this range here. Does that all look cool to you?
Correct.
Okay, great. And then 100, okay, great, perfect. Now you've already run a linear regression here. What did you run here? So just a few of them, but
I ran both stepwise and just an inner.
that's fine. All right, so let's just run it. So it looks like you're ahead of the game over here. So linear regression, under regression, our DV is X19. Okay, and then our IVs are 6 through 18. Oops. Okay, does that look about right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so just put those in. Yeah, I mean, I think we have scrollovers here. By the way, in a week or two, when you have plots like that, we're going to have an AI talk about whether or not that was met the assumption or not. So in addition to this plot over here, just know that that's coming down the pike, okay?
Alrighty.
Ditto over here. Okay, so multicollinearity, this is the extent to which variables are highly related to each other. So in other words, if X11 was highly related to some other variable, like 17, well, that's a problem. So, and that problem should be rectified. like by deleting one of them, by, so that right there makes me want to now go into a correlation between these variables. Anything over 10, you have a problem. Okay, so 6. This is the nuance. 18. I'm not going to look at all the assumptions. Okay, and I'm just going to scoot to the table. Okay, so X9 and X18, 0.87, that's high. So I would think about averaging them together, deleting one of them, but not putting them both in there. That's the kind of issue that's a problem, okay?
Yeah. Well, that was the objective of ultimately you're going to do the factor analysis or
Okay.
stepwise.
Fair enough. So maybe I'm going in the wrong order here.
No,
but-
no, that's fine. I was just trying lots of different things.
Right.
I already know what all the answers to this data set are, so I was just seeing what kind of results came out.
Right. So what you just said was really the correct way, which is do the exploratory factor analysis first, which is a item reduction strategy that I don't have really, whatever that is, 12 or 13 items. Maybe I have 2 constructs. So I think that's the right thing to do, which is, if three constructs comprised of, x6, 11, negative -13 and -17 as a construct, for example. So, so I would create those constructs using the variable calculator that I talked about, and then use those 3 factors to predict X19.
Okay, a quick question: is there, when you do an EFA, is there any way to get it to just automatically pump out factor scores, as an example? I didn't see
Good,
that.
and they should do that. It should do that. That's a good question for our chief programmer. So under, so I'm under the options. So what's the save options? No. We don't have that. So we're gonna, and we should. I guess
And if I could also say, I think the other I didn't see under your factor extraction, I didn't see a PCA. I saw basically, several other types, but none of the non-maximum likelihood approaches. No, not in rotation under the next one down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I just a common principal components. I didn't
Yep.
see that unless it's another analysis.
No, so no, that would be here. So Melissa, that's a great thing to mention to our chief product officer, the factor extraction as well as the creating the scores. When you create those scores, would you be cool with creating scores just for those 5 items?
Yeah, I mean, you could either just do the kind of classic factor score savings of, standardized scores, which has low loadings for everything else. But if you could find a way to only take the ones over a specified loading.
Right, which we do here.
Yeah. Do you know why you picked 0.32?
I think that's from James Stevens. out of Cincinnati
Yeah,
gave that recommendation probably back 20 or 30 years ago, but
yeah.
I think that's where they came from, 0.30 or
Okay, okay,
yeah.
that's fine. I
But
was just
but
curious.
it was based on a reference from a reputable statistician who wrote
Sure.
this. Was into God knows what edition he's in. That's how we came to that.
Okay, no, that's good.
Yeah. All right. And it looks like you're running cluster. I'm not an
Uh,
expert in cluster.
I just did it real quick, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I'm not an expert at that. I mean, personally, I would be throwing that into chat myself and say, simplify the sucker for me. What the heck does this mean? I'm sorry, that's just not my,
no, that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, I have a good feel for what all this is. I was just seeing how well it kind of replicated it from what I'd already done.
yeah. How did you come to us, by the way? You seem like you're in the know.
Actually, I'm an author on a multivariate text, and we're in the process of trying to figure out how to write a supplement or revision to, complement your type of software. So I
Great.
was
Say that one more
curious.
time.
I'm sorry?
Say that one more time.
I said I'm an author, a co-author on a multivariate text,
Yes,
and
but in the
we're
text,
now in the
right?
process of trying to figure out how to revise or write a supplement for this whole new wave of software that's much different than SAS or SPSS or Stata.
Maybe contact us or Melissa, get William's information, because we would love to have something more formally written up. I mean, obviously there's 100 SPSS books or SAS books.
Yeah.
So, but maybe there's some synergy to be had there.
We consider it. We're looking right now. We're wondering whether you made our book obsolete or not. And I
Is
see
that
hope,
what now?
but
I missed that last part.
I said we were wondering whether you made our book obsolete. I see hope for us.
No. Listen, we are really clear that we are not, and I'll say this to everyone, all roads don't lead to intellectual statistics. So there's a qualitative piece, there's AI in here, but there's lots of for other folks that people want syntax driven stuff. And if you do think it's obsolete, all the more reason to write a book about intellectual statistics.
Yeah.
So anyway, I look forward to talking to you in the future, William.
All righty. Thank you.
Yeah, all right, thank you. All right, I think we have time for Patson. Let's see if and Melissa, I'd love to get William's feedback about other things. I mean,
Sure.
again, he's a statistician. That's love to hear it. Okay, so Patson, can you raise your hand? And Mac, talking about is there something for glasses delta or different effect sizes? No, but Melissa, that's worth mentioning to our product manager too, about different effect sizes. And I'm curious, Mac, where glasses delta would be, what type of test and so forth. Let me see here. Where do you keep your effect sizes? We keep it in yeah, it makes it press. So it's only Cohen's D is the one that's used. Yeah, I mean the correlations are effect sizes. We do keep, so that is a good question, Mac, that some of the effect sizes, and then I'll come back to this, but it's worth answering the question. Some of the effect sizes are sitting under the raw output. So if I ran a chi-square, for example, between let's just say whatever I have here, age group and gender. So and when I run that, there's no effect size here, but this is the interpreted output. If you go to the raw output, under here, you'll see Kramer's V. okay, which is an effect size. So, but I'd like to hear more. We'll look into the other effect sizes as well. But so in answer to one of your questions, some of the effect sizes are sitting under the raw output. Okay. All right, let's get back. Do we know who this is?
They haven't raised their hands. I don't know if you want to look at another one that's been shared with you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Okay.
So GUETOZ. Oh,
Oh, oh, okay.
want to go back to Isaac?
Okay, we'll go to Isaac first and then, okay.
That's fine. Hi, Isaac. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
All right. What are you working on, Isaac?
It is, I'm looking at the data last 10 years between 2014 to 2023, CT, career technical education, post-secondary outcomes, not the outcomes, the trend, kind of longitudinal trend, how the districts affected by COVID, before COVID and after COVID, or how the trend is going to match with the Missouri's labor needs, like the workforce needs. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. At the first part, you may see in the first columns the school district types. Then there's 16 different career clusters, career technical education clusters. So I want to see the trend, how that is affected, or what is the trend, and what is the workforce needs in future. BLS, Labor Statistics has on their website 2035 statistics, what we need for the workforce. So I just want to see that, are we literally getting that point, that needs, are we meeting, or is there any clusters as an educator we have to focus to make more outcome at the high school level?
All right. So you just said a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. But a couple of quick thoughts. One is, I think this goes to William's point. So that his textbook is still good, that there may be other software better suited for trends. Okay. So that's one point.
Okay.
The other point, again, back to William, which is I'm not an expert in cluster analysis, but I can connect you with one of my statisticians that are. Okay. The third thing I would say is that, when you're talking about this, I think I would, before I go granular, like 2014 and 15 and 16, I mean, I think there's probably an interrupted time series to be had here, was one kind of thought. The other thought is, hey, you know what? Let me just look pre and post, if I can get some kind of average at pre and some average at post COVID, that might be a simpler, start with the simple stuff before the granular, but it sounds like you have some interrupted time series. You're going along, you had some break, and is it different than the trend after? Okay. Yeah. I am not an expert in time series or interrupted time series, so I'm not sure your data is even in the right format for me, but I do want to invite you to, under advanced analyses, under time series. Yeah, so your data may not be set up. So it sounds like that's what you need, okay? But again, I'm not an expert in it, but when you're talking about these trends, pre and post some cut point like COVID, that sounds like that's what's needed.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep, all righty. And feel free to come back and get with one of my statisticians. So, but it sounds like we have a data management process as well as some analysis
Yeah,
process.
I would like to meet with someone just to give me an idea, like have a conversation on this hours, like that will be great.
Yep, Samantha or Melissa will get with you, but
Thank you.
Yep, my pleasure, Isaac. Okay, so, and then I don't see conjoint analysis, latent profile analysis, latent class analysis. I gotta tell you the truth. Well, a couple things. One, we don't get asked that much, but Melissa, it's another thing for to put on the list for our chief product officer. So those are good comments. I have heard of those. I don't know about those, and I think at the moment, I think as we kind of move from more educational use cases to more business use cases, I think those things will come there. Stay tuned. Okay. Very good questions, by the way. Good questions. Yeah, everyone seems very engaged here. So right on. Okay, so do we have this individual transactional distance?
We do.
Judith?
Oh, hey, 1 second.
Hi,
Hi, Judith. How are you today?
good. Thank you so much for this. I hope I'll be better after just sitting in and having answers to my questions.
Okay, say it again.
I'm doing very well. I think I'll be even better after sitting in on this presentation and having you
Okay.
answer some of my questions.
Let's get to it. What do you got?
Well, what I am studying for my dissertation is basically I'm exploring the relationship between perceived transactional distance, cultural values, and online instruction among higher education students in
Hey,
South
give me those three again. I'm sorry. Just give me a shorthand name for those three. Sorry, just so I get it.
transactional distance,
Okay, so
cultural values,
transactional distance. What's the
uh,
second?
cultural values,
Okay,
and
so cultural values.
and online instruction in higher education, HSI, Hispanic Serving Institutions. So my research question is there a correlation between HSI students' perceived transactional distance and the cultural values of power distance, uncertainty avoidance, and collectivism?
So we started out with three variables, but now you're throwing in other things here.
Correct. And I also have two different surveys there on Likert scales, based on Likert scales. I have a revised scale of transactional distance, and then I have a cultural value scale that that looks at the power distance, uncertainty avoidance, and collectivism.
All right. So here's the good news and the bad news. The good
Oh.
news is we can probably help you with this. The bad news is I'm not going to do this in 2 minutes. I got to wrap my brain around the variables and the real research question at hand. Okay. I mean, it's just not a simple, correlation or relationship and throw them into a correlation. We just kind of got to like sift through that a little bit. And I just, I appreciate you coming on. We have your data set de-identified, and I would just say make an appointment, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I just can't. I know it's a workshop, but I think there's too much to unpack there.
No problem. So I'm sorry, who would I contact again?
We'll send you an email, Judith, and with a link where you can schedule.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I
No,
appreciate
I
it.
look forward to
No
yeah.
problem.
It's just my brain is starting to blow up. What happens is students have been looking at this stuff for 3 months and typically pretty quick at it. But when you have lots of those things, I want to just understand it and then just not suck up the workshop time as my brain slowly processes it. Okay, so
No worries. I appreciate it.
all right, but I look forward to speaking with you.
Likewise. Thank
Okay.
you.
All righty. All right, and then Melissa, I think putting in that the consultation link, I think is good for everybody. So I think that would be worthwhile to put into the chat or the Q&A, whatever. All right. So and then I have David. I think David's he's with us. So all right, other questions? Other questions in the Q&A?
We can give it a minute if there's any at the end. I don't have any open at the moment.
And then let me put up everyone's contact information. Hopefully I have this in the right way. Excuse me. I don't have that last slide up. If you wouldn't mind just putting your everyone's contact information, maybe Samantha's for the consulting and Ashley's for the software. Put that into the Q&A or the Q&A or the chat, please. Samantha for the consulting, or just to kind of talk about it, and then Ashley for the software. Okay, so maybe that's what to do.
Okay.
All right, final questions. I have something in the chat. Is Ashley? Okay, great. And then you have the schedule link. Great.
Follow-up email with the recording, links to our upcoming webinars, and everyone will have access to this open version of the tool through tomorrow. So if you want to get in there with your own data and play with it, you have some time to do that.
All right, and then final comments are that one is that we do have courseware that goes with this. So so just to know that there's a whole healthcare edition, and there's 57 different lessons can go behind your LMS. So just to know that there's courseware or to upskill, that's something. The second thing is, and final, is that there is a qualitative tool which uses AI, can help excerpt and theme and code. And then there's a courseware. This is what it looks like. This is the Intellectus qualitative tool. Same simplicity, same rigor. So that's there with courseware as well. That's there. And then the last thing is that tell people. People do not know about this. They are struggling with legacy tools, and we've moved beyond into the 21st century. We're innovating on a constant, pretty quick pace for a small team. So both with the quant and the qual and the courseware and the consulting and training for your organization. So I would just say, tell other folks, please, and let them know. It's not a cure-all for everything, but for lots and lots and lots and lots of use cases, these tools really can kind of get you there with a small learning curve. So with that being said, I will say thank you all so much, and look forward to the recordings, and come back soon and tell others. Okay. With that, all right, bye-bye all. Have a good rest of the week.